Welcome, Commanders family, into Command Center Game Day Live, brought to you by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. We invite you to stop searching and go Northwest. Check out nwfcu.org/Washington to see how easy it is to join and how Northwest can help make your money work for you. Stop by a branch or visit nwfcu.org/Washington today. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a live look out at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We are out in Atlanta. Our live field cam is presented by Verizon. Verizon, the network Commanders can rely on. You can see the Washington Commanders gearing up for their Week 6 matchup against the Falcons on the only Washington Commanders pre-game show. Welcome into Command Center Game Day Live. I am Brian Cole Jr. here with Mr. 8 to the 9 Santana Moss, Super Bowl champion Brian Mitchell. Fellas, like I said, it's Week 6. Yeah. We play in Atlanta. Yes. We want to move forward. So first thing, though, we want to talk about y'all memories, man. Y'all played this game. Y'all have played Atlanta a time or two. B-Mitch, what memory comes to mind when you think about the Falcons?
It goes back to 1991, the Super Bowl year. We went out there, and they came in, and they had MC Ham on the sideline. You know, Jerry Glanville was leaving tickets for Elvis. They just thought they had a show coming on the road, and we spanked them, 55-27 the first game. Came back in the playoffs, beat them again 24-7. Knocked them out the playoffs. We went on and ended up winning the championship. But they were a brash bunch of guys. But, you know, slapped them around a little bit, set them home.
So tell them about you, man.
Well, 2013, man, we went into Atlanta. I believe Kirk Cousins got his chance to start. It was his first start of the year. We lost the game 26-27. And the reason why I'm mentioning this game, because I scored the last touchdown for us to, either tie the game or we went for 2 to try to win the game. But we had 5 turnovers that game. I fumbled twice. I'm not sure if I fumbled that I lost both of them, but I do remember fumbling twice. And I talk so much about,
turnover battle.
The turnover battle. So I just feel like if you had that many turnovers and still was in the game, that shows you how vital it was, because it was on the road. We barely lost the game, but we had 5 turnovers. But that stands out in my head, just knowing how well we played, and we lost that game just by 1 point.
Well, we're hoping for no fumbles today, right?
Turnover battle. Let's go, baby.
And we have a lot of fun again. We have a lot more to talk about. But however, we do have breaking news. Our starting left tackle, Charles Leno Jr., will be out of today's game due to personal reasons, so he will not be starting for us. How does that affect this team? B-Mitch, I'm going to start with you.
Well, if you had all week, you had Leno out there practicing, I think it's going to be for Lucas. I think Lucas is going to end up playing in his place. But he's a veteran guy. He's been around for 10 years. Yeah. He understands how to prepare himself and be ready to go. So then again, a lot of guys sit back and they wait for an opportunity to get on the football field. He's going to have an opportunity today to go out there and show that, you know what, I may need some more playing time.
Yeah.
It happens. This is a very much of a cutthroat business. When you get your chance, you go out there to try to show coaches why you should be playing even more.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think at the same time, it's always the next man's up kind of, mantra when it comes to how we play this game and what we expect as being those backups. The guy who's getting a chance to do it, this might be your chance to say, I'm either going to be here for a while being a backup, or I want to take over and be the starter. So now I want to see how he plays personally. Then also, what do we do as a team, as a staff, to scheme up things, knowing that if he wasn't prepared for it, that we have other little ways of playing to make sure that we don't have him out there on the island by himself.
For sure. Definitely a big loss for us, especially with a team where, we struggle to keep our quarterback clean. He gets touched a lot, so we'll be interested to see how that goes. We wanted to give you that breaking news. However, we got a lot more to get into, guys. We're going to talk about Sam Howell. We're going to talk about the receiver. We're going to talk about this defense. But we are in the Don't Take, but they got the top open on us, so we might as well check out the weather. It is time for your game day forecast presented by NBC4. We are working for you. And it's looking right now, we have a high of 63 with a low of 45. 2% precipitation and winds of 10 to 15 miles per hour. Always nice to play indoors, but it's kind of frustrating when they open that top for you when you could just be inside in controlled weather.
I like the elements, man. I'd rather be in the elements. Let's figure it out.
Close that thing down, man. What they doing to us like that?
Well, fellas, we're on to Week 6. We had it extended, really. It's been a long time since we sat here and had a conversation. Week 5 didn't go our way. How do we bounce back from Week 5 today?
I think one of the things you have to do is just, scrap everything you did last week. I mean, especially for the preparation part of it. When we talked about this game the entire week, we talked about how flat they looked coming out. And I think when you have this kind of a window when it comes to extra days, you don't get a chance to get no breaks. Remember we talked about that last week? Like, hey, if you win, you get a chance to enjoy that break. If you lose, you ain't hit it every day. So I'm pretty sure these guys are eager to get on the field just knowing what they went through this week. I know every coach probably was in here, had their guy in the film room putting a little extra time in to show them how they cannot perform if they're trying to be successful. So I know they're eager to play today.
And if you look at it, I'm sure when they looked at the film, they found out it wasn't major things that needed to change. It was a bunch of little things that added up to them playing as bad as they did last week. What they have to do is I hope they've corrected those mistakes already. But when you go on the football field, everything else is left behind. You step on the field, it's about everything you wanted to do that week. And you got to go out there and make sure it happens.
Yeah.
You know, Tanner always talks about winning the turnover battle. Protect the ball. Is the ball more important than 1 more yard? Yes. You know, you get 4 more chances to do it, so you hold on to it. And the whole thing, I feel like these guys, they've heard all of the negative things. And they get upset, but the only way you correct that, go out there and play great. You know, if you have a Bafo day, successful day, type day, then great things will happen for you.
And Tan, you kind of touched on it, right? We have an extended amount of time, and you guys have both have said athletes are creatures of habit, right? You guys are very regimented. How does that change when you have all of this extra time? Does it affect you at all, Santana? I'm gonna start with you.
I wouldn't say it affects how I prepare or prepare for that, you know, this particular game. But I will say this, that when you have what I just mentioned, you have that kind of setback or that loss, that devastating loss or blow, it makes you eager to get out there and say, let me rewrite what I put on the field last time. I remember being a guy that had a chance to, you know, have, you know, every game you go into that game with that mindset, I have to perform well. And when you don't, I can't wait to get to the next Sunday. So I'm sure these guys had a long week thinking about the stuff they did. Yes. And now they're eager, like I said before, they're eager to get out there and go out there and perform better. And it just also leaves a bad taste in your mouth that you can't, you know, you want to get rid of. So today couldn't come no faster for these guys.
For sure. And, you know, the odds are we're going to have a really great game. And speaking of odds, I think it's time to get into the most rewarding odds presented by Fanatic Sportsbook, the most rewarding sportsbook. And like I said, we got the Atlanta Falcons today. It is week 6. And as you can see, Washington are underdogs at 1.5 points. The money line is plus 105 for the Washington Commanders. And the over-under is 42.5. And fellas, like we said, it's week 6 is here. You know, we got a lot to get into. We got a lot more show. However, before we go, we want to hear from our fans. That is right. We want you to leave in the comments. We know we're watching on Facebook. We know you're watching on YouTube. We know you're watching on X. Leave in the comments, hashtag left hand up to have your questions answered by 2 Washington legends. That is hashtag left hand up. Leave your questions. We will be reading them live on air for you. And when we come back from break, we will have London Fletcher joining the show from out in Atlanta. Yes, he's out in hot Atlanta in the Dome. He'll give us a preview of this matchup straight from the sidelines. You are watching Command Center Game Day Live presented by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders, with non-stop live pictures from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. That's right, this is non-stop, so we will keep them up for you even during the break, so you have no reason to go anywhere. We will be back soon, Commanders family.
Dad, we're gonna be late.
Can't stop adding stuff to your cart? Get the Bank of America customized cash rewards card. Choose the online shopping category and earn 3% cash back.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We have more boosts than anyone else. We power up the odds on hundreds of bets with Bet Boost. We give you the option to increase your profit with our incredible Profit Boost. And just when you think you can't get better odds, we unleash the Super Boost. Check out our boosts and see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Experience the performance of Toyota Camry, from TRD to all-wheel drive and hybrid, with comfort and control. To travel your way and arrive in style. Right now, buy a Camry and get $750 finance cash. Toyota, let's go places.
VetTix secures unused event tickets to give back to the military and veteran community. The mission? To strengthen family bonds, build lifelong memories, and encourage service members and vets to stay engaged in their community. Giving out over 15 million tickets since 2008, VetTix continues to give something to those who gave. To find out how you can help give once-in-a-lifetime experiences to our veterans, service members, and their families, visit vettix.org today.
Hey Marissa, what are you doing?
Searching.
For what?
My financial wellness.
Stop searching. Go Northwest. I went to Northwest Federal Credit Union, even better than a bank. And they hooked me up with totally free financial counseling to help me manage my money.
Totally free?
Totally free.
I feel my financial wellness running through me already.
Whatever works. Stop searching. Go Northwest.
One bag.
The winter play was really coming together. Until disaster struck. Tensions were high. Luckily, replacement costumes were shipped with FedEx, which means Mr. Harvey could picture the perfect night. We're ready for the holidays, so you're ready for what's next.
Have fun, sis.
Can't stop adding stuff to your cart? Get the Bank of America customized cash rewards card. Choose the online shopping category and earn 3% cash back.
Welcome back, Commanders family, to Command Center Game Day Live, presented by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. Our live field cameras presented by Verizon. Verizon, the network Commanders rely on. There are the views from today's warm-ups from out in Atlanta, where our guys, London Fletcher, is standing by. And speaking of London Fletcher, we talking defense. Let's get into the defense, guys. We have a big matchup ahead, and we're going to get right into it, right? We know Atlanta has a very, very strong rushing attack. How does our defense counteract that? Brian Mitchell, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I think we got to really focus in because they have two running backs that are getting it done.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll talk a lot more about this later on when I talk about some of my favorite matchups in the game. But, yeah, Bijan Robinson, an unbelievable talent who catches the ball a lot, and he runs the ball very effectively. Then he has Tyler Algier backing him up, who runs it as much as he does. But they're going to come out here and basically try to establish the run. We have to make sure they don't have a lot of success early.
Yeah.
Because I've said it over and over again, if you have success running the football, you can do anything you want on the football field. So we have to try to take away their best. Because they have two tight ends in their passing game that can give a lot of teams problems. So we're going to have to make sure we stifle them a little bit, win at the point of attack, and we can't sit up there and do the waltz.
Yeah.
You know, the waltz is when you get a defensive lineman dance with the offensive lineman. You got to disengage and get into the hole, clog it up, allow those linebackers to make tackles behind the line of scrimmage instead of 5-6 yards down the field.
Well, I know the feeling might be a little different because it's not a divisional game, but that same approach that we took going into that divisional game we played the Eagles, had to have that same mindset. We have to come in here knowing that if these guys have their way, which what they want to do is run the ball, they will have their way. So we have to make sure that we force them to do something that they might not be comfortable with, or they might, are comfortable with letting that quarterback sit back there. He's a young guy, sit back there and use his arm a little more. So, and he talked about Algier and just Bijan, but Patterson beat us last year, and he's a guy on there. So they have a three-headed monster that can have their way with us. So I just think that we have to emphasize in stopping the run and forcing them to do something that we struggled a little bit, this year already in the past game, but I think we have to be ready for that this week.
And B. Mitch, you're going to get a lot to the defense a little later, but I have one more question about this defense because you mentioned those tight ends. It's not just Kyle Pitts, it's also Jonnu Smith now, who's actually leading in all receiver categories, which is very interesting to think when you got a guy like Kyle Pitts. How does our defense go against this two tight end set that the Falcons like to use?
We got to get in their face. I think the thing about it, when I look at football, a lot of people like running zones. I think if you're a very good route runner, you eat a zone alive. If the quarterback's throwing the ball on time, you're going to beat him. But I feel we have a guy in Jamin Davis that we drafted because we said he played well against Kyle Pitts in college. We're going to have him on the field. You don't have to have Cam Curl come down sometimes, Barton, whoever. You got to be up in his face to make Ritter have to throw the ball perfectly. And then when you get a quarterback having a little pressure, trying to throw it perfect, they normally don't do that. So it gives us a chance. But if we're allowing them to just run and turn around, hook up for a pass, that'll be a long day.
I think our best coverage is going to be what we do up front. I think it's time. We've been waiting for too long. I mean, we've seen our our guys up front, get out to the quarterback, be disruptive. But games like this, you have to go out there and be, play or have more of an emphasis in trying to be disruptive, just knowing that they have a couple of guys in their skill positions on the outside that can have their way with you, if you allow them to. So we struggled a lot, in the past when it comes to our safeties, sticking these tight ends. I don't see us struggling. I think schematically our defensive coordinator might have to scheme up some things just to have them, play a little more zone or something like that. But just up front would be the key to me, to get out to the quarterback, get him off his spot a little bit so he can't just sit back there and have a clear lane.
And Santana used the word disruptive. And one defender I know is disruptive is our guy, London Fletcher. So let's sit it down to London, who has the best seat in the house, brought to you by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. Fletch, what are you hoping to see in this matchup?
Thanks, Brian. I'm out here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium as our 2-3 Commanders get set to take on the 3-2 Atlanta Falcons. We come into this game riding a 3-game losing streak. And if we're going to snap that 3-game losing streak and beat the Atlanta Falcons in their place, a couple things have to happen. As I look at the Atlanta Falcons and the games that they've lost, those 2 games they lost, teams have been able to sack Desmond Ridder 11 times and also take the football away from them 4 times. So you got to be able to put pressure on Desmond Ridder and also take the football away. However, in order to rush the passer, you have to earn the right, and that's going to start with stopping the run. The Atlanta Falcons are one of the best rushing teams in the National Football League. They attempt nearly 30 rushing attempts per game. So our defensive front is going to have to do a great job stopping the run and get themselves in the position to earn the right to rush the passer and see if we can create some turnovers. On the other side of the ball, offensively, the things that I would like us to do, run the football a lot more. During this 3-game losing streak, we've only attempted 17 rushing attempts per game. Not nearly enough. And you even go back to the game against the Chicago Bears on Thursday night, only 6 called run plays. That's not going to get it done. You're on the road, you're in a hostile environment. Bring your defense, stop the run, pressure the quarterback, but also be able to run the ball efficiently to put yourselves in a lot of more third and manageable situations. Keep the Atlanta Falcons defense at bay, tire down their defense, be able to set up play action passes. Then you can take shots down the field to our wide receivers, whether it's Terry McLaurin, De'Ami Brown, or Jahan Dotson. You do those things, and we'll come out of Atlanta with a victory. Back to you guys in the studio.
And the rest of the Command Center crew on the Command Center Podcast Network. We have the Players Club podcast with Santana and London, where they sit down with your favorite Commanders players and talk sports in a way that only players that played the game can. Santana, who'd y'all have this week?
We had B-Rob this week. It's one of my favorite shows I do all week long. I love the Players Club. I love, listening to the guys that we bring in. We had a good one this week.
Yo, man, can't wait to hear it. And we have a lot more podcasts. We have the Get Loud podcast with Mike Jenkins and Fred Smith doing what they do best, getting loud. We have the Next Man Up podcast where I sit down with your favorite Commanders players some more about the man behind the helmet. And last but not least, we have the Command Center podcast with Santana Moss, Fred Smoot, and Logan Paulson, giving you everything you need to know about the Commanders leading into game day. And speaking of Commanders, there they are warming up and getting ready for game time. We'll continue to bring you live coverage up until kickoff with the game getting underway at 1. Yes, we are just moments away. And you know what, fellas, I'm a little hungry, so I think it's time for your special delivery delivered by Grubhub. Now, of course, I said I'm hungry, but we know it ain't no food, right? But however, we got some food for thought right here. We got some information. So right here is our left hand up question from our fan. It is Doug on YouTube. He's watching on YouTube. Thank you for leaving your comment. This is the question. With Reeves and Holmes out, how does that affect our special teams?
That's a good question, Doug.
I think it affects tremendously. Both of those guys are very, very good at covering. Yeah. And I talked a little bit earlier about the the defensive line disengaging. They do that very well, and they can disrupt a lot of returns and things of that nature. It's going to be a lot of guys getting the opportunity to play today, and you got to go out there and do the same thing those guys did. Attack, extend, disengage. They're going to have to play a little bit tougher than they played before because you don't have the 2 erasers, as I call them, on the field.
Those guys are definitely, vital to what we do, special teams-wise. Reeves he's a leader. He's a Pro Bowler. And so now it's going to be seeing one of those guys who probably wasn't getting a chance to play. Yeah. Now they get a chance to start on special teams to see if they can make an inference or make an impact that they can try to find their way on either the offensive side or the defensive side. So I'm just looking forward to seeing who's going to step up. Forget about how it's going to affect. Who's willing to go out there and put it on the line and step up and say, Coach, you can count on me?
Who is going to step up? Great question, Doug. And shout out to our producer, Kayla, for bringing over the question, man, delivering it promptly. And you know what, fellas? It's been a fun show so far, but we got a lot more to get into. Stay tuned, because when we come back, I'm catching up with Commanders wide receiver Curtis Samuel. We're talking what makes him never ordinary. This is Command Center Game Day Live, presented by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. You found the only, that's right, the only Commanders pregame show, and the only one that gives you continuous looks as the team gets ready for action. That means you don't need to go nowhere. We're going to keep this up for you. We'll be right back. See you soon.
Football's here, and Fanatics Sportsbook wants you to rep your team colors. Introducing the Fanatics Jersey Drop. Bet $50 or more and get an official jersey up to $150. Available for a limited time. Welcome to the most rewarding sportsbook.
The Toyota Highlander is ready to go. With impressive cargo space, versatile seating, and fully connected tech to put you in charge of your drive. And with available hybrid models, you can be efficient in style. Right now, buy a Highlander with low APR financing. Toyota, let's go places.
What you doing? Searching. For what? My financial wellness. Stop searching, go Northwest. I went to Northwest Federal Credit Union, totally better than a bank. And they helped me figure out how to make my money work for me. I even got a great credit card that pays 2 times the points. But can they help me find my car keys? Stop searching, go Northwest.
Hey, grab me one too.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary.
Roger, this is looking good.
We believe every moment in sports should be epic.
Are you watching this?
Is that curling? Nah.
This morning's news, curling fever has taken over the world.
So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Welcome back, Commanders family. It's Command Center Game Day Live, presented by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. Our live field cam is presented by Verizon. Verizon, the network Commanders rely on. Check out the Benz, where the Commanders are warming up for a Week 6 matchup with the Falcons. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. That is right. We are just moments away from kickoff. But fellas, until then, it is time to get into this Commanders offense. Let's check out today's Air Power, presented by Air National Guard, proud partner of the Washington Commanders. Now, our receivers put in work all offseason, and we have seen that hard work pay off in a big way. 11 different Commander receivers with at least 1 reception so far, and it's only Week 6. Santana, you got some savvy receivers to talk about. I'm sending it your way, brother.
I get goosebumps. You said savvy receivers. We in my wheelhouse now.
There we go.
B. Mitch, we got something very special brewing here in Washington, and I'm going to talk about these guys. You see what they got it up there, Santana Savvy Receivers. Number 1 on my list. Curtis Samuel. Now, we was talking before we even got on air, and I'm like, B-Mitch, you looking at my notes? I mean, this is Mr. Do Everything. This guy's one of those guys, he's a Swiss Army knife. He's a guy that I don't even care how he gets the ball. Just get this guy the ball. He runs very well with the ball. He's a former running back that can do what he can do with the ball in his hand. So that's one of the things I love about this guy. What you think about him, B-Mitch?
Well, I like this kid, man. He came in the first year, he was hurt. And all of a sudden, once he got healthy, we saw what he was about.
Yeah.
The guy, you said, he gets the ball in his hands, he can run the ball very effectively. He runs as hard as a running back. And then he still can run routes as a receiver.
Yeah.
And he has that speed to get up and go like you used to do.
Yeah. I mean, my next guy, I could talk about him all day. My next guy, Mr. Dawson himself. Now, we had big hopes for this guy coming into the season, man. I want to see this guy break out like he did last year. But what people fail to realize, when you have a new offense, a new OC, sometimes that takes time. And so just be patient, because I'm being patient, because I understand who this guy can be. Now, when you ask me questions about critique this guy, what can he do? He's the receiver that I used to tell myself that I was without the hype. He has everything. If you want to say some receivers who are special, like the Jerry Rices, or you name some of the best guys in those days, the T.O.s, all those guys, the Randy Mosses, they had 1 or 2 or 3 things. This guy, I feel like he has it all. He might not be the tallest, but he has enough height. He has hands. He has the wingspan. He has the speed. He has the route running ability. I can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
What you have to say about this guy, Dawson?
Well, the thing about Dawson, I think, a lot of guys, you talk about the skill of doing multiple things. But the thing about him, when he runs routes, it's precise. And quarterbacks, especially in this offense, need you to be in a particular spot at a certain time.
Yes.
He gets there, because Terry talks a lot about them being in each other's area. They don't have those problems, because Dawson is going to run his crisp, get back, and open up everything for everybody else.
And then this being a young guy, I want to, leave this in your head. He's a young guy. You normally don't get to see guys in year 1 or year 2 have the knowledge that he has. So I just can't wait till we get on the same page with him in the offense, because I think he could do some big things for us to open up things. My next, last, but not least, Mr. Scary Terry himself. Now, this guy was one of those guys, you heard his story. Talked about how he tried to get into Ohio State. He went to a camp. Coach told him, you got to work on this. He did that. One of the things I love about Terry, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it like this. I don't have to talk about his routes. The guy's just a dog.
Yeah.
When it comes to
and that's dog in a positive way.
Exactly. Throw the ball up to Terry. He's going to get the job done. I love Terry so much. B-Mitch, I'm going to let you chime in a little bit about
Terry. The thing about Terry, when he walked in here, he came in with a chip on his shoulder. And I think everything we could have expected, he's exceeded that threefold. But the thing about Terry is this. He is not satisfied with where he's at now. He's always striving to be better and make sure he leads his team, make sure they understand, I'm going to be here for you. When you have a guy like him on your team, everybody else cannot take time off.
Look, I'm going to say this. True number 1. I have to say nothing else about him. True number 1. Throw the ball up to Terry. He's going to come down with it and make something happen.
Tanner Savvy Receivers. I really love this segment. Tanner, you was doing your thing, man. I appreciate that. Now, we talk about Terry and another Savvy receiver we have in Curtis. Did y'all know they were roommates in college, actually? Freshman roommates, and now they are playing together. I got a chance to talk to Curtis Samuel during the Next Man Up podcast. And you know what? I think it's time for our Never Ordinary interview presented by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. What makes Curtis Samuel never ordinary?
The things I could do with the ball. I can make guys miss, reverse fields. I do a lot of things a lot of people say you shouldn't do. I feel like I try to reverse field all the time, but if it's not there, I don't force it.
What do you have a never ordinary moment, whether it was a play on the field or maybe just a moment in your life that you remember and say, oh man, that was never one. This was a special moment for me.
Yeah, I got a few plays. On one play, I think it was probably a reverse when I was in Carolina. A reverse when I was in Carolina. Like, caught the reverse, running down the sideline, like down the left sideline. I ended up all the way on the right sideline in the end zone for a touchdown. So some things that you may not say people should do, but I did it.
Right. And we know the football, we know the man that, be on the field. But tell us something that's never ordinary about Curtis Samuel off the field, something that people would not expect necessarily from you. Is there something like a hobby or something like that you have?
A hobby? I play the game a lot. I don't know. I be inside. I be in the house.
Yeah.
I be in the house all day. Yeah. I don't really go outside. I don't like being outside. I be in the house all day. But what's unordinary about me? I feel like I'm a guy that if I'm in a setting or I'm with family, a group of people, I want everybody else to be comfortable before I am. Like if everybody in the sprinter, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather they be comfortable and I sit in the front seat and they enjoy themselves because that's what it's all about. Everybody enjoying themselves. I worry about myself later.
Yeah, and then you mentioned having such a good support system and a great family. How is that elevated you in a way to where you can continue to be a never ordinary player?
It's elevated me a lot just because I just get so much support and so much love, and just how people always say you unselfish because you care about everybody else more than you care about yourself. It's one of those things. It's like you know, a lot of people put athletes in a box, but I think I'm totally the opposite if you really get to know me. Like I'm totally different. I don't really care about myself. I don't really flaunt off what I got. You never know. You look at my Instagram, it's plain Jane.
Yeah, it is.
I don't really care. I may got a good outfit on, but I don't really care about showing it to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I'm just about enjoying my moment at the time and just being where my feet is.
Great hearing from Curtis, man. Humble guy. It's crazy to think he's already in year 7. And it's crazy to think we're almost at kickoff, but we got some more to get into when we come back. B-Mitch is telling us the big 3 matchups you have to watch out for. This is Command Center Game Day Live presented by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. You found the only Commanders pregame show and the only one that gives you continuous look. Look at our guys huddled up over there, and the team is getting ready for action, which is most way from kickoff, but we'll be right back. But we'll keep the cam up the entire time for you during this break. We'll see y'all after.
Hi, I'm Jeff Dick, Chairman and CEO of Main Street Bank. Every dollar we touch is not our own. Every dollar represents the countless hours spent on the construction site, late nights in the office, time away from family and friends. Remembering this keeps us in touch with what we do and who we do it for. At Main Street Bank, we are honored to be stewards of our clients' dreams, aspirations, and their money. Bank where trust matters and where you matter.
You're going to like this story because it's about you. You who forgot to charge your phone last night. You who sprints to the boarding line so your bag will fit. You with him. Until one day you boarded a United plane that was designed for, well, you. And your phone got charged, your bag fit, so did everyone else's, but this story isn't about them. Your toddler didn't tantrum and you got to fly happily ever after. The end.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We have more boosts than anyone else. We power up the odds on hundreds of bets with Bet Boost. We give you the option to increase your profit with our incredible Profit Boost. And just when you think you can't get better odds, we unleash the Super Boost. Check out our boosts and see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Hey, it's me, food. I'm so much more than just what we eat. I'm hand-cut, fresh and frosted. I love it. Aw, I love you too. See, life is always something new. All messy, frantic, and amazing. And from where I sit, you look delicious. That's why every day is worth celebrating. If you can. Stay fresh. Sincerely, food. Sincerely, Safeway.
Commanders family, it's Command Center Game Day Live, presented by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. Our live field cam is presented by Verizon. Verizon, the network Commanders rely on. Check out the bins where the Commanders are warming up for a Week 6 matchup with the Falcons. Kickoff is set at 1 p.m. All right, fellas, we talked offense, but now I think it's time to talk defense. Brian Cole Jr. back here with Brian Mitchell, B. Mitch, and Santana Moss. B. Mitch, it's time for you to give us your big 3 matchups.
All right, thanks, Brian. But listen, we're going to talk about offense and defense. I have 3 matchups here that I'm going to be looking for, and I think if we go out and win these matchups, we're going to win this football game. The first one is our D-line against their running game. Bijan Robinson and also Tyler Algier has been 2 guys that have been running the ball, outstanding. Bijan Robinson, he has 67 carries for 367 yards. Then Algier comes in, he has 62 carries for 297 yards. These guys are getting out there handling their business, and if we can stop them, hinder them a little bit, we give ourselves a chance to pin our ears back and go after their quarterback. Switch it over. We're going to go to our Washington running game against Atlanta's defensive line. We have a guy in Brian Robinson Jr., Tanner, who I think Brian can run the ball very effectively, but we're going to have to go out there and make sure we attack him. And Brian right now is at 4 yards a carry. He has 3 touchdowns. The guy I was talking about earlier, Bijan Robinson, hasn't gotten in the end zone yet. But we need to make sure we can get Antonio Gibson running too. If we can go out there and establish the run against Atlanta's defense, now you give Sam Howell a chance to put the ball through the air. Sam started putting the ball through the air, and we're running the football. I don't think Atlanta's defense is good enough to stop us.
No doubt.
Then we flip it over. I think my last one, and this is the one I'm really, really looking forward to. I know we drafted Jamin Davis, and we said Jamin Davis was a guy who could go out there and play against a guy named Kyle Pitts. Well, Kyle Pitts, and then our linebacker core and secondary, Kyle Pitts has a running mate. His running mate is Jonnu Smith. And I think when he gets out here, he is leading the team. 21 carries for over 246 yards. Kyle Pitts can run 4.4. He's 6'6". He weighs 251 pounds. Our linebackers and secondary is going to have a problem on their hands if we allow these guys to go out there and establish themselves as dominant people. When you look at those tight ends like that, they have 2 of them. You played in a game when everybody wanted to go to the receivers. Now offenses want to go to the tight ends. What is it about these 2 guys that make them so effective?
Well, I think one of the things about, if you would just talk about the tight ends alone, they're mismatches. You know, nowadays these tight ends are like wide receivers. So they're slower wide receivers, and it's hard to put any 3 or 4 defensive back or even linebacker on a guy that can outrun you and outroute you. So we just have to find a way to, schematically, scheme up things that we can know that we can protect our guys a little more. Now, I say that, and the viewers and listeners might say, well, yeah, that's what we're going to do because Tanner said we're going to do it. 9 times out of 10, we're going to see a linebacker one-on-one with these guys. And it's mano-a-mano, just stop your guy, beat your man. So, Coach had them signs up this week. Do your job. Do your job, guys, and we should be productive.
Well, I think do your job means that the defensive line is going to have to lead this whole thing when they have their offense on the field. If they play well, we play well, we win these 3 matchups, we win the football game. Back to you, B.
Oh, man, guys, great to hear you guys breaking down those matchups. We have an exciting game just ahead of us, but we're not done yet. When we come back, we are going to get into some final thoughts from our guys, as well as one more round of hashtag Left Hand Up, where the guys answer the viewers' questions. That's right. You can have your questions answered by these legends. You got plenty of time. Comment your questions with hashtag Left Hand Up to have your question answered by 2 Washington legends. That's next on Command Center Game Day Live, presented by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. It's the only Commanders pregame show which has your field pass to the action. We will not let you miss a moment, even during this commercial break. Stick with us.
You think life is short? Football is short. The regular season is just 18 weeks. That's it. So cherish every over and under before it's over on FanDuel, with live betting on every NFL game. Because before you know it, a cold night at a Buffalo Bills game will just be a cold night in Buffalo.
Bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets and get a profit boost every single day. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
VetTix secures unused event tickets to give back to the military and veteran community. The mission? To strengthen family bonds, build lifelong memories, and encourage service members and vets to stay engaged in their community. Giving out over 15 million tickets since 2008, VetTix continues to give something to those who gave. To find out how you can help give once-in-a-lifetime experiences to our veterans, service members, and their families, visit vettix.org today.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception? First down? Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Hey, Marissa. What are you doing?
Searching
For what?
my financial wellness.
Stop searching. Go Northwest. I went to Northwest Federal Credit Union, even better than a bank. And they hooked me up with totally free financial counseling to help me manage my money.
Totally free?
Totally free.
I feel my financial wellness running through me already.
Whatever works. Stop searching. Go Northwest.
Football's here, and Fanatics Sportsbook wants you to rep your team colors. Introducing the Fanatics Jersey Drop, a jersey offer like no other. Bet $50 or more and get an official jersey of your choice, up to $150. It's available for a limited time, so grab it before it's gone. And with Fanatics Sportsbook, you can earn up to 5% fan cash back on every bet. Welcome to the most rewarding sportsbook. Start earning fan cash now.
Welcome back, Commanders family, to Command Center Game Day Live, presented by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. And check out our live camp out in Atlanta in the ATL. Our live camp is brought to you by Verizon. Verizon, the network Commanders rely on. We are gearing up for kickoff. It's just a few moments away from out in Atlanta. We know y'all are ready for game day, so let's get right into it. We love hearing from you guys. We love talking to you guys, but you know what? We have Game Day Live, and fans, we are looking out for you. We've got a giant deal. That's right, a giant deal that'll be going on in a New York minute. Until this Monday at midnight, get 2 tickets in the upper level for $99 or 2 in the club level for $255 for our November 19th game. Scoop and score yours today. Gotta love a deal. And fellas, you know what else we gotta love? Having some fun. And it's time for some more fun, fellas. It's time to play fast, win fast, brought to you by Maryland Lottery. Fast play games. Play fast, win fast today, but please play responsibly. Brian Coper Jr. back here with Brian Mitchell, Santana Moss, and fellas, y'all know the drill. Yeah. What do we have to do to get off to a fast start in today's game? B. Mitch, I'm gonna start with you.
Well, I think what we have to do is make sure we've done everything already throughout the week to make sure we're ready to go. We had guys last week saying that they came out flat. They should not be coming out flat today. You lost 40-20 to the Chicago Bears, okay? And everyone, I'm sure, is chomping at the bit to get back into the right mindset, the right focus. So when you hit this football field, remember, you have a bunch of enemies out there. Mm-hmm. Every one of those guys that are wearing that black, white, and red, whatever, they are your enemies, and they are trying to stop you from getting where you want to go, and you make sure you get there. So you can't start out slow.
It's going to start in the trenches. I'm going to be real quick with it. That's all I'm saying. Offensively, defensive, start in the trenches, get out them.
Yeah, all right, fellas, you know what? It's been a fun show, but you know what? We got an even more fun show about to start. Our guys are going to do their week six matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. But check this out. We will be back with you. Myself, B. Mitch, Logan Paulson will be back for Command Center post-game live, giving you everything you need to know about your matchup. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for leaving your comments. Keep leaving the comments in there. We'll eventually get around to them. Fellas, it's been fun.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all after kickoff.